Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sayyid Farhanuddin. My title is COVID-19 Associated Aspergillosis, a mycological observational study at a tertiary care hospital. To give you a background, patients with ARDS due to viral infections are at risk for secondary complications like invasive fungal diseases, of which influenza and COVID-19 are popular. COVID-19, the incidence rate is 3 to 33%, and it depends upon geographic area, and it has a high mortality rate. To give you a background, the study done by Michele Bartoletti from Bologna, Italy, states among 108 ICU patients on mechanical ventilator with COVID-19, 30 patients, that is 27%, were diagnosed with kappa. Of these, 44% died within 1 month of ICU admission, compared with 19% of non-kappa patients. In this study, we did an observational study of aspergillosis in COVID-19. The objective of my study was to study the proportion of aspergillus species isolated from samples sent to microbiology lab associated with COVID-19, such as mucormycosis, aspergillosis, candidiasis, etc. The methodology was, it was an observational study conducted for a period of 2 months. During this period, we received 700 samples, of which 113 were positive for Aspergillus species, 16%. Identification of genus was done on KO-SMART by finding narrow structured hyphae with acute angle branching. Species was done on SD and DRBC slant as well as LPCB MON. Uncommon species like Ocraceus and Aspergillus cereus were identified in multiple. This is a simplified view. So, 3 types of samples were received: felt biopsy samples, sputum samples, and nasopharyngeal swab. Lung biopsy and bronchoalveolar lavage samples were not received due to aerosolizing nature of the procedure. This is a KO-SMART picture taken by me under objective 40x. This is a zoomed in. On the right hand side, you can see narrow septate hyphae with acute angle branching, suggestive of Aspergillus. On the left hand side, you can see suggestive of mucorales for comparison purposes. These are the SGS lines of Niger anterior. These are the DRBC plates of flavors and fumigators. These are the LPCB mounts under 40x. On the right hand side, you can see Aspergillus niger with dark phthalates, comparatively hyaline phthalates of flavors and fumigators. Clonical vesicle seen in center one, that is fumigators, and a globular vesicle in these are the zoomed in pictures. Results: all the samples received were from RT-PCR positive COVID patients. Males were the most common affected, with male to female ratio 3:1, and mean age was 48 years, range was 12 to 80 years. Most of the specimens yielded mixed infections with fungus of the order Mucorales and genus Aspergillus, that is 68%. Overall flavors were the most common, 33%, followed by Niger 24%, followed by fumigators 20%. No fungal growth was observed in 7 samples. Uncommon species like Ocraceus and Teres were identified by Malcolm. Now, let me break down based on a type of sample. 90 were felt biopsy samples, of which flavors and Niger both accounted for 25%, fumigators 22%. 19 were sputum samples, of which flavors were the most common species isolated, 68%. 4 were nasopharyngeal swabs, 2 each of flavors and Niger. This is the simplified view of the result. Let me talk quickly upon Maldidoff. Principle is technique separates molecule based on difference by M/Z ratio. And advantages are reduced turnaround times, resistance phenotypes can be identified, and subtyping of fungus can be done. Limitation is it will take almost 2 to 4 weeks to grow molds. Another limitation is we need to have a spectral database to identify. Discussion: this study shows high incidence of secondary aspergillosis in COVID-19, that is around 16%. In a study done by John Salmon and Garcia et al., fumigators were the most common species isolated. Now, since the radiological finding can overlap between COVID-19 ARDS and invasive aspergillosis, seeking microbiological diagnosis is of utmost importance in order to minimize mortality and morbidity. Major limitation of this study is that recovery of aspergillus in specimen of the upper respiratory tract, such as sputum, often does not distinguish between aspergillus colonization and invasive aspergillosis. To conclude, this study highlights the need for comparative study to establish association of aspergillosis and COVID-19 and the need for screening tests for better diagnosis and prompt treatment. These are the literature I reviewed. Thank you.